This project is titled Interventional Radiologic Procedural Class Result on Aggregate Operator Radiation Exposure. So, in terms of the introduction, we all know that modern technology, especially radiology-assisted imaging, has greatly improved the abilities to diagnose and effectively treat patients. But it creates a unique situation where providers who repeatedly work with radiation-emitting technology are at a risk for radiation damage. Radiation damage has been associated with multiple diseases. I won't go through them all, but immune suppression, depression, cancer, obviously, among many other things. So there are specific government guidelines to reduce exposure as much as possible and make sure that all providers stay below a certain threshold. Some practices use dosimeter, radiation measuring devices to mitigate this risk. Other places have certain policies, etc. So this study was created to measure how much radiation exposure certain types of procedures created, and the goal was that once we figure out this information, we can accurately spread out the procedures among providers and make sure that individuals who are at a high range and are at risk of crossing the threshold can continue working, but in a safe fashion by doing procedures that are less likely to expose them, as opposed to other providers who may, by random chance or by preference, be only doing procedures that have low radiation. So in terms of our methodology, we conducted the study by a single interventionist over 4 months in 2020 towards the end of it, and we were able to analyze a total of 397 procedures. These included angioplasties, angiograms, thrombectomies of the fistula, thrombectomies of the graft, tunnel catheter exchangers. And so and de novo tunnel catheter placements. And so all of these were done with C-arm class X-ray devices, and we made sure to control for all other factors. The ratio X-ray dose was conducted in milligray. The procedure length was always in minutes, and we got these ratios every time. We also were able to construct 95% confidence intervals to make sure that our data was in fact significant. So in terms of our results, we were able to create this graph as a nice visual representation of all of our data. Each procedure is on the x-axis, and the bar shows that on average how much milligray were emitted in terms of the aforementioned ratio. So a higher bar means more radiation exposure, and the lower bar is obviously the counterpart. So in conclusion, this kind of confirmed our original hypothesis that each procedure has different procedure radiation emission. However, it was kind of interesting that there was even more variation than initially expected. For example, an angiogram had almost twice as much radiation as the thrombectomy of the fistula, which is something that we didn't expect. We expected that it would be more along the lines of maybe 10% more, 5% more, something like that. But this showed that there was a huge difference, which is beneficial when reassigning procedures to mitigate radiation exposure to high-emitting providers. So we hope that we can use this data to continue changing the guidelines. We've already been successful at making some practice changes at the vascular access centers where this study took place, and we hope we can do the same things at UMKC and affiliates before moving further. Thank you.